Heartwarming encounter, little girl asks hospital CEO, "Are you my new daddy?" Her life changed forever, the bustling sounds of the hospital lobby mixed with the chatter of nurses, the beeping of machines, and the hasty footsteps of doctors. Among the crowd, a weary yet determined woman named Sarah clutched her daughter Emily's little hand. Life had thrown them a cruel twist with the loss of her husband, a dedicated veteran. Grief weighed heavily on Sarah, like a shadow that wouldn't leave her side. She was juggling 3 jobs, each demanding and exhausting, but all to make ends meet for Emily, who was increasingly drifting into her own solitude. 8-year-old Emily often found herself lost in thought, her innocent mind searching for the love her father once provided. As they waited, she peered around the lobby, her eyes wide, absorbing the world full of families united. She missed the warmth of her father's embrace, the fun of shared jokes, and the hopeful glances that spoke volumes of love. That day, her heart ached more than usual, the emptiness gnawing at her small chest. Sarah knelt beside her daughter, offering a gentle smile. "You okay, kiddo?" Emily nodded but looked doubtful, her thoughts thrumming. Just then, David, the hospital CEO, stepped into their line of sight. He was a man of stature and wealth, yet he didn't quite fit the puzzle of the busy lobby. He exuded an aura of authority mixed with vulnerability, a complexity of his own. As he passed by Sarah and Emily, Emily unexpectedly piped up, her voice clear amidst the noise. "Are you my new daddy?" The question hung in the air, piercing through the busy atmosphere like a sudden stillness that enveloped them. Time froze. David halted, stunned. The room seemed to breathe collectively. Sarah's heart raced, embarrassment flooding her cheeks. But the innocent tone of Emily's question struck a chord deep within David. It forced him to face the reality of his privileged existence, one that had insulated him from the struggles faced by families like Emily's. The room buzzed around them as he gathered his bearings. I know, sweetie. I think your daddy is watching over you." He knelt to meet her gaze, a flicker of compassion igniting in his eyes. But in the reflection of those innocent eyes, David began to awaken to a broader truth, the beauty of connection and the pain of neglect faced by families with little means. Sarah watched, torn between her grief and the fleeting longing for someone to fill the void in her life. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The words melted away, and the moment sliced through both their lives, threading them together in an unforeseen way. As David stepped back, Sarah turned her gaze away, unable to face the feelings welling up inside her, the pain of loss clashing with the yearning for hope. As whispers circulated in town about David's new initiatives aimed to uplift families like Sarah's, she wrestled with doubt. Could a wealthy man truly understand her struggle? Would he care enough to commit? Tension would mount, and doubt would seep into her mind, battling against her desire to move forward. The community began to ripple with curiosity and skepticism, testing David's intentions, while Sarah felt the weight of her past drag her down. She stood at a crossroads, haunted by memories yet secretly wondering if there was a chance for love again. Tension built like a wave gearing to crash, as Sarah reflected on the unexpected encounter, standing on the precipice of change. Would she let someone in? And David, now entangled in her world, would he embrace what was at stake? Emily's question lingered in David's mind long after their brief encounter. He was back in his office, staring blankly at reports sprawled out before him. But his heart wasn't in the numbers, it was with Sarah and Emily. The innocent hope in Emily's eyes punctured his thoughts, calling him into a world that felt so distant from his own. As he sat, engulfed by the richness of his privileges, he became acutely aware of the lives around him, the struggles that lived just outside his office doors. He thought about the families hustling through the hospital, the mothers juggling insurance papers and young children, the fathers quietly holding their wives' hands, wishing they could ease their pain. What had he truly done to help them? That evening, Sarah trudged home to their small apartment, the weight of the day pressing her down. Emily chattered on about what colors she would use for the drawings she wanted to create for her father, who she believed resided in the stars. But her mother could barely respond. The exhaustion of her roles: parent, worker, survivor spread like a heavy blanket, smothering her in a way that felt suffocating. "Mom?" Emily's voice broke through her mother's dazed thoughts. "Are you okay?" Sarah snapped back to the moment, forcing a smile. "Of course, sweetheart. Just a long day." But Emily frowned, her eyes reflecting understanding beyond her years. "Is it because of you, no, Dad?" Sarah's heart ached as she nodded. "Sometimes, I just miss him a lot." Emily moved over and snuggled close, drawing small comfort. The world around them felt small in that moment, but a flicker of hope remained, a glimmer that perhaps something could change. The next morning, as Sarah prepared to leave for her third job, she spotted a folded letter on the kitchen table. Curiosity stirred. She opened it, revealing a note in elegant handwriting from David. It was an invitation for her and Emily to a community event he was hosting, aimed at bringing together families in need. The words jumped out at her: "You matter. Your story matters." Her heart raced. Was this his way of reaching out? Whatever his intentions, her gut told her this could be an opportunity for something different, something better. But then doubt struck her. What if this was just a way for him to assuage some guilt? Did she want that for her daughter? Still, the pull of connection was strong, and uncertainty curled in her thoughts. So later, they went. The community center buzzed with chatter as families mingled. Emily's hand slipped into hers, her gaze wandering around in a silent but eager exploration. "Mom, look!" she exclaimed, pointing to a craft table adorned with glitter and colored paper. "Can we go there?" Sarah felt a smile breaking through her anxious thoughts. They made their way across the room, setup upon setup of activities beckoning children, giving them a chance to smile again. As Emily happily created colorful crafts, Sarah stepped back, letting the comfort of laughter envelop them. But then, she spotted David, making his way through the crowd. He looked different, more approachable somehow, as he engaged with families and ensured they felt welcomed. The essence of their earlier encounter returned, weighed down by possibilities. Then David's eyes caught hers, and for a moment, the bustling crowd fell away, leaving just two people caught in a moment of understanding. Would she take that next step? But the unexpected twist came when a child, a boy not much older than Emily, stepped up to David and handed him a colorful drawing. "This is for you. I love your hospital." David crouched down, accepting it with genuine gratitude. "Thank you, buddy. It's beautiful." As he smiled down at the child, Sarah felt a rush of emotions surge within her. The walls she had built began to tremble. What if he truly intended to help? With a thudding heart, she realized she had a choice to make. Could she let go of her fears and allow herself to hope, to trust? But before she could process anything further, David took a few steps closer, heading directly toward her. Their eyes locked. And the room around them faded out. At that moment, everything felt electrifyingly possible. What would he say next? David took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment pressing in. The noise of the community center faded, replaced by the soft heartbeat of anticipation. He could see the uncertainty flickering in Sarah's eyes, the vulnerability behind her determined facade. "Hi, Sarah," he began, his voice steady but warm. "I'm glad you could make it today. Emily's been having a great time, hasn't she?" He gestured toward the craft table where his little girl was busily drawing, her laughter like music weaving through the crowd. Sarah nodded slowly, her defenses still up. She loves art. It helps her express, well, everything. David smiled, a genuine curve of his lips that almost made Sarah forget her hesitation, only for a moment. There was something about the way he looked at her, as if he saw how hard she fought every day simply to keep moving forward. I know things have been tough, David said cautiously, searching for the right words. This event is just the start. We hope to create a community of support, not charity, but a place where everyone belongs. Belongs, Sarah echoed softly, the word resonating in her chest. The thought sent a ripple of hope through her, but the walls she built were still high. It's been hard to feel that way since you lost your husband? His tone softened, recognizing the unsaid. She frowned, the mention of loss a raw wound. It's just been me and Emily. We manage, most days. David nodded, understanding. His own experience with hardship, a family tragedy he carried like a hidden shadow, made him keenly attuned to what she felt. You're doing more than just managing. You're showing Emily strength in ways she'll carry with her forever. He meant it. Somewhere deep within, David believed that the connection they felt in this moment might lead to something meaningful, even life-changing. Just then, Emily bounded over, her face glowing with pride. "Mom! Look at my drawing!" she exclaimed, holding up a paper filled with swirling colors and sparkling glitter. David's heart melted as he knelt down to her level. "That's amazing. You've got a real talent there, kiddo." Emily beamed at the attention, and Sarah couldn't help but smile at her daughter's exuberance. It was a simple moment, but it felt large, like a bridge being built between them all. "Thank you, David. That means a lot to her," Sarah managed, the heaviness in her voice softening. David's gaze drifted to Sarah's for a heartbeat. He took a step closer. "If you're open to it, I'd love to support you both beyond today. There are resources and programs that could help. And I want to learn more about your story." At his words, Sarah felt her breath hitch. All her instincts screamed to withdraw, to protect herself and Emily from another potential disappointment. But something else, a quiet whisper in her heart, pushed back, urging her to take a chance. "Are you sure?" she asked cautiously, her eyes searching his. "Absolutely," he said firmly, and in that moment, Sarah saw sincerity lingering in his dark eyes. Suddenly, Emily tugged on David's shirt, her small voice breaking through the tension. "Are you my new daddy?" The question hung in the air, laden with innocence and loaded with meaning. David's face softened as he knelt to Emily's height. "I'm not your daddy, sweetheart. But I'm here to help, if you'll let me." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. Emily's hopeful face crushed the weight of her doubts, but the thought also struck fear in her heart. Could she truly allow someone new into their lives? David stood up, his expression earnest. "What if I could help both of you find your way forward?" The air was charged, thick with emotion. Sarah felt vulnerable, yet the prospect of a fresh beginning beckoned. Could this really be the start of something new? As silence enveloped them, Sarah knew a choice lay before her, one that could change everything. What would she decide? Sarah's heart raced as she took in David's earnest expression, the warmth in his voice wrapping around her like a soft blanket. It felt like stepping into the light after being in darkness for so long, but the shadows still lingered in her mind, reminding her of what she had lost. "What do you mean by help?" she finally asked, her voice steadying as she searched his face. "What does that look like?" David straightened, his gaze unwavering. "It means connecting you with resources, a support network. We have workshops, counseling, art programs for Emily. Anything that could make things a little easier." His words hung in the air, and Sarah felt a flicker of hope ignite. It was such a simple offer, yet the magnitude of it sent ripples through her chest. "Why would you do this for us?" she questioned, still uncertain. "Because I've been there," David admitted, the weight of his own experiences shining through his eyes. I know what it's like to struggle. I want to help others find their path. Emily played nearby, her laughter painting the atmosphere with innocence, a stark contrast to the heaviness of the adults' conversation. David smiled at her before turning back to Sarah. It all starts with connection. Maybe we can build something together? Sarah felt her defenses ready to rise again, but in that moment, she also realized something significant. This man was extending an olive branch, not just to her, but to Emily as well. It could mean stability, community, perhaps even friendship. You really think Emily would enjoy those programs? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Absolutely, David smiled, and the sincerity in his expression pushed through her walls just a little more. And so would you. A community like this can be more than just support, it can feel like family. The word family sent a jolt through Sarah. She hadn't considered it for ages. Just the idea felt fragile and beautiful, as if the smallest breeze could shatter it. Just then, Emily ran back over, her sticky fingers still glimmering with overzealous glitter. Can I show him my next drawing, Mom? It's going to be the best one ever. She beamed with excitement, unaware of the tense discussions underway. Of course. Sarah replied, pride swelling in her heart. She couldn't help but smile. Emily was right, art was like a window to a world of possibilities. As they began to walk towards the craft table, Sarah felt a mingling of warmth and fear swirling in her gut. The idea of trusting David felt both thrilling and daunting at once. What if this could work? But could she really risk her heart again? David glanced back, catching her eye. Whatever you decide, I only want what's best for you both, he said quietly. The sincerity in his voice made her pulse quicken. She had the choice to embrace this chance or retreat into her familiar solitude. But what if, deep down, she truly wanted to believe things could change? Then, in a burst of enthusiasm, Emily turned to David, innocently disarming all uncertainty. You could help me be a super artist. And then we can go on adventures. Sarah's heart swelled just hearing her daughter's words. The laughter, the hope, could they really entertain the possibility of joy again? Adventures sound wonderful, David replied, a twinkle of excitement brightening his expression. In that moment, Sarah felt a whisper in her soul, urging her to take a leap. But the lingering doubts still held her captive. She was standing on the edge, peering into the unknown. Was this the moment to give in to hope? Or should she hold back, hiding from the light? As the afternoon sun poured through the community center windows, painting everything in golden hues, Sarah squeezed her eyes shut for a brief moment, weighing the possibilities. And in that silence, she knew a decision was drawing near. What would she choose? With a sudden rush of courage, Sarah opened her eyes. The light streaming in felt invigorating, like the dawn of a new day. She looked at Emily, her daughter, who was now animatedly explaining her next masterpiece to David. Sarah's heart swelled with a mixture of fear and excitement. Maybe, she thought to herself, maybe this is the nudge I needed. As Emily described the swirling colors and the adventures of the characters in her drawings, Sarah found herself captivated by the joy on her daughter's face. Each word was a brushstroke painting a picture of possibility. She took a deep breath, letting the warmth of the moment envelop her. David, Sarah began hesitantly, I want to accept your offer. The words tumbled out, but they felt lighter than a feather. David turned, his expression shifting from surprise to a warm smile. You won't regret it. Trust me, he replied, his voice steady and filled with reassurance. Emily's eyes lit up at her mother's words. Yay! I can't wait. She hugged Sarah tightly, her excitement spilling over. In that embrace, Sarah felt a flicker of belonging, a warmth she hadn't experienced in what felt like a lifetime. As Emily and David continued discussing plans for the art program, Sarah felt her barriers begin to crumble. The shadows that had lurked in her mind slowly started to fade in the glow of their laughter. The promise that lay in those connections began to feel more tangible, almost beckoning her to join in the journey. Minutes passed, but it felt like they were suspended in a bubble, isolated from their past struggles. The community center buzzed with the sounds of chatting families and delighted children, but for the first time in a long while, Sarah felt a sense of clarity. "Can I see your drawing too, Em?" Sarah asked, ready to dive into the world of her daughter's imagination. Emily nodded vigorously. "It's the best part. It's a magical forest where all the trees have smiles and the flowers sing." She pulled a colorful paper out of her canvas bag and held it up proudly. As Sarah admired the drawing, she felt a wave of emotion wash over her. The colors burst with life, mirroring Emily's brightness. "This is incredible!" she exclaimed. "You really brought it to life." Just then, David added, "And imagine taking that creativity to our workshops. You could inspire others just like you inspire your mom." Emily giggled, her pride palpable. But in that moment, Sarah felt something deeper stirring within her, the realization that this new path could transform not just Emily's life, but her own as well. "That could be amazing," Sarah found herself saying. "We can do this together." A smile crossed David's face, and he held her gaze a moment longer than necessary, clearly sensing the shift unfolding. With every passing minute, Sarah felt as if the bonds of her mistrust were loosening, replaced by a budding sense of hope. She glanced around the community center, taking in the welcoming environment. "What if this really is a chance for us?" she pondered. "Let us go on our adventure," David said lightly, as if reading her thoughts. "Together, we can navigate the uncharted waters ahead." The joyous bursts of laughter returned to fill the space around them as they started to form a plan for the upcoming workshops and programs. It all felt so surreal yet uplifting. And yet, a flicker of apprehension nagged at Sarah. What if they struggled again? What if the pain of the past lingered too long? Still, deep down, she felt a new light flicker. And what if this could be exactly what we need, she mused to herself. As they continued to talk about Emily's future, there was an undeniable shift taking place within Sarah. But just before the conversation could fully turn towards tomorrow, a sudden shout rang out from the other side of the room. It was a child, running toward them with wide eyes and an urgent shout. "Mom! Mom! You have to see this. You won't believe it." Sarah's heart lurched at the urgency in the child's voice, the unexpected interruption crashing into her fragile hope. Instinctively, she turned back, torn between the emotions swirling around her and the desperate energy of a child truly believing something extraordinary awaited. What lay ahead was still uncertain, and she could feel it in her bones. What could be so important that it pulled everyone's attention at that moment? As Sarah stepped toward the noise, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, she was finally ready for the next step wherever it might lead them. Sarah approached the commotion, the air thick with curiosity and wonder. The child who had called out was now jumping up and down, her small frame impossibly full of energy. A cluster of other children and parents had gathered around, each face reflecting a mix of excitement and confusion. "What is going on?" Sarah asked one of the parents near her. "There's a surprise in the back room," the mother replied, her eyes bright as she gestured toward the hallway. "Some of the kids were working on a project, and it's finally ready." Emily's eyes widened, full of anticipation. "Can we go see, Mom?" Her voice held a musical lilt, tinged with uncontained eagerness. "Sure, let us go," Sarah said, feeling the stirrings of adventure within her. The previous conversation with David and Emily fell away in a flurry of movement, excitement propelling them toward the back. As they neared the room, the sound of giggles and whispers grew louder. Sarah squeezed Emily's hand, feeling a shared thrill. This gathering was a turning point, she could feel it in her bones. What awaited them could potentially be the spark that ignited new connections, memories, and experiences. They pushed through the door, and inside was a sea of color and laughter. The space was adorned with drawings, finger-painted murals, and creative expressions that sprawled across every inch of the walls. In the center, a group of kids, each working diligently, placed the finishing touches on a large cardboard sculpture shaped like a fantastical creature that seemed almost alive. "Look!" Emily shouted, pointing at the creature with delight. "That's amazing." David knelt beside them, admiring the artwork. "These kids put their hearts into this. It's beautiful." Suddenly, the room erupted in applause as the organizer, a spirited woman with curly hair and a beaming smile, stepped forward. "Everyone, thank you for your hard work. Now, let us present our creation." The kids gathered around, their eyes brightly lit with pride as they explained their work to the adults surrounding them. Sarah watched Emily, completely enraptured. The way her daughter beamed, filled with confidence, sent waves of warmth flooding through Sarah's heart. After some time of listening and applauding, the woman gestured for silence. "And now, we have a very special guest. Please welcome our community leader." As the door swung open again, Sarah felt her chest tighten. She expected someone influential, a mayor, perhaps, or a well-known philanthropist. But then she saw him. The hospital CEO, impeccably dressed, exuding authority while also reflecting a deep kindness that radiated from his every smile. "Hi, everyone," he said, his voice calm yet powerful. "I'm here to see your incredible project." A collective cheer went up from the children, and one brave little girl stepped forward. Sarah held her breath, watching the interaction unfold. "Are you my new daddy?" the girl asked, her voice trembling with hope and innocence. A hush fell over the room. Sarah felt her pulse race, caught off guard by the unexpectedness of the question, the depth of the child's yearning. The CEO paused, surprise flickering in his eyes. He knelt to meet the girl's gaze, his expression softening. "I'm not, but I am very honored you'd think of me that way," he replied gently. "You're doing something amazing here." Sarah's heart swelled, amazed by the tenderness the moment held. She realized it wasn't just the girl's question that was affecting her, it was the overwhelming craving for connection, for belonging that hummed through the air like a fragile melody. As the laughter and cheers returned, Sarah quietly absorbed the energy in the room, feeling connected in a way she hadn't for so long. The uncertainty within her was still there, but now she could see a world that held promise, fresh and welcoming. "Mom, he's so nice," Emily whispered, tugging Sarah's sleeve. "Yes, he is," Sarah responded, her heart racing with potential. But in the midst of joy, a shadow loomed. What would the CEO's presence mean for them? Would he stay involved, or was this just another fleeting moment? As she watched him smile at the children, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something monumental. Could this lead to the family they had always wanted? The door to possibility was wide open, and with it came a swell of questions in Sarah's heart. What would happen if they stepped in? As the applause echoed around her, Sarah felt a spark ignite. The answer was just within reach, waiting to be discovered. The excitement in the room was palpable. Children giggled and ran in circles, their voices blending into a symphony of laughter and joy. Emily's eyes sparkled with inspiration. Sarah watched her daughter, heart swelling with happiness. This was the kind of moment they both needed, a burst of light in their otherwise routine lives. "Mom, can I show him our drawing?" Emily's voice cut through the chatter, her eagerness infectious. "Of course, sweetheart." Sarah smiled, pushing down her own uncertainty. She felt a wave of encouragement wash over her. It was as if the whimsical atmosphere enveloped her, urging her to embrace the moment fully. Emily grabbed Sarah's hand and together they navigated through the throng of kids, weaving toward the impressive cardboard sculpture. "Look, we painted it together," Emily exclaimed, her small voice proud. The CEO crouched down, his eyes glimmering with genuine interest. You two created this? He asked, his tone warm. Emily nodded vigorously, her grin widening. Understanding filled the space between them. Well done. You should be incredibly proud, he said, and Emily beamed. Sarah felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was more than just a moment. Maybe it was a sign that things could change, a pathway to something better. Just then, the spirited organizer clapped her hands, calling everyone's attention back. All right, everyone. We have a few more surprises for you. Excitement rippled through the crowd. Sarah's heart raced, both exhilarated and anxious about what would come next. Would this be the time when the CEO would announce new programs or initiatives that would deepen connections within their community? As the organizer spoke, she opened up a discussion about the importance of creativity and community, while the kids listened intently. Sarah noted how everyone's faces glowed with hope as the CEO chimed in, promising to support children's art programs in the area, providing funding that could transform empty rooms into vibrant places of creativity and belonging. A wave of whispers swept through the crowd. Did you hear that? More art classes. Sarah could see parents exchanging incredulous glances, their expressions shifting from surprise to elation. Emily tugged at Sarah's hand again, her spirit buoyant. Can we sign up for those classes, Mom? Absolutely, darling, she replied, her voice thick with emotion. Perhaps this was the beginning. They had been waiting for, a chance to build friendships, to explore new avenues for growth. The gathering grew louder as ideas bounced around. Parents started talking about organizing more art days and events, some planning to stay connected beyond that afternoon. It was exhilarating to witness. But then, like a shadow creeping across the sun, Sarah's heart tightened again. Would this be real? The hope felt fragile, almost too precious to hold on to. What if the promises made today faded into empty words tomorrow? When everything calmed a bit, the organizer invited everyone to mingle. Sarah turned to the CEO. Thank you for being so supportive. It means everything to have someone like you care about our community. He smiled, a genuine warmth in his eyes. It's my joy. We're all in this together. We have the chance to build something wonderful right here. As she soaked in his words, a soft echo tugged at her heart. His kindness felt different, real. For the first time in a long while, she dared to imagine a future not defined by loss, but by community and connection. She stole a glance at Emily, whose laughter lit the room. Did the girl's innocent hope inject a new kind of yearning in her heart? They moved to the side, and Sarah knelt, taking Emily's hands in hers. What do you think this means for us? Emily tilted her head, her brow furrowing in thought. I think we might find more friends. More friends, Sarah echoed, her pulse quickening as she contemplated the prospect. But just before she could fully embrace the thought, a loud crash jolted everyone, drawing their attention toward the sculpture. A part of it had fallen over, and gasps filled the room. The joyful energy shifted, and Sarah held her breath. What if this was a sign of what's to come, a setback in their journey? Let us help fix it. Emily called out, bouncing on her feet. A collective cheer rose up, as kids rushed to group together, determination surging. Watching the children rallying together, Sarah felt a flicker of something inside herself shift again. Perhaps the connections being forged weren't just within the community, but within her family as well. What would this new connection mean for them personally? The moment sprouted with potential, but also uncertainties. As the kids laughed, busily reconstructing the creature, Sarah's heart tempted her toward the future anew. And just like that, she couldn't help but wonder what transformations awaited them as they took the plunge into this new chapter of their lives. Amid the excitement, chaos erupted into an unexpected wave of laughter mingled with concern. Children scampered towards the fallen sculpture, their faces showing a mix of enthusiasm and worry. Emily was among them, her small hands working diligently to help right the cardboard structure. Sarah watched her daughter, heart swelling with pride. Yet as she glanced at the scattered art pieces, her own doubts resurfaced. Did this moment signify teamwork and community, or was it just a fleeting high before the fall? The CEO moved closer, his tall frame bending to help the children. "What a creative disaster we've got here," he said, a twinkle of laughter in his eyes. "Let us turn this into an art lesson. Who knows? It might just inspire something even better." Emily glanced up, her eyes wide with excitement. "Can we make it even bigger?" she shouted, her voice breaking through the growing noise. The other kids echoed her enthusiasm, filling the room with shouts of approval. "Bigger it is." The CEO chuckled, beckoning a nearby group of parents to join in. "We'll lay this flat and gather whatever is left of our masterpiece. Then we can build and enhance it as a team. What do you all say?" A chorus of agreement rang out. Parents began pulling cardboard, scissors, and tape to start the reconstruction process. Sarah felt a smile tug at her lips. A moment that could have dimmed their spirits was transforming into a spark of cooperative energy, a blend of resilience and creativity. As she stood back, she noticed the camaraderie forming not just among kids, but also among families. New friendships were being kindled, and real laughter filled the air. It reminded her of simpler times, other gatherings where they had shared both struggles and joys. Sarah's heart began to soften, the lingering uncertainty still present but less consuming. Suddenly, a little girl stood next to Emily, clutching a brightly colored crayon. "Can I help too?" she asked shyly. Emily, lit up by the girl's enthusiasm, nodded vigorously. The two girls chatted, forming a connection that felt vibrant and real. Sarah couldn't help but think of how once, she had worried if Emily would ever find her place in the world. Today, those fears felt distant, like fading echoes. Sarah's heart swelled once more. She thought of the many fears she'd harbored, being a single mother, the weight of expectations, and the uncertainty of the future. Yet, here in this room filled with possibility, hope flickered anew. Maybe this wasn't just a chance for Emily, maybe it was a chance for her too. Each smile and laugh seemed to chip away at her worries, paving the way for fresh beginnings. With a determined sigh, she pulled herself away from her thoughts and joined the congregation of parents and children. "All right, team. Let us make this the best sculpture ever." As the group shifted into action, Sarah felt warmth flow through her. They were creating, learning, and laughing together. Amid the chaos, everything clicked into place, a sense of belonging, connection, and community slowly materializing before their eyes. But before she could fully embrace this new wave of hope, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She could feel a prick of anxiety. It was an unknown number. Should she ignore it or take the leap and find out what it held? Before she made a choice, she glanced back at Emily, her little hands crafting alongside a newfound friend. A thought surged through her: maybe, just maybe, this unexpected call could be a different kind of opportunity, something worth exploring. As the laughter continued around her, she hesitated, heart racing. What would it mean if she answered? Would it change everything? Would she dare? Sarah's heart thudded in her chest like a drumbeat. She was torn between joy and anxiety as she fished the phone out of her pocket. The laughter and chatter of children filled her ears, but all she could hear was the potential that lay behind that unanswered call. What if it was about Emily? What if it was a job opportunity? Or even a disaster waiting to unfold? Taking a deep breath, she silenced the doubts tumbling through her mind. It felt like a leap, a chance to embrace whatever life had thrown her way. With a determined finger, she swiped to answer. "Hello?" Her voice wavered slightly as she spoke, trying to mask the flutter in her stomach. "Ms. Thompson?" The voice on the other end was steady, but there was an urgency in it that made her sit up a little straighter. "This is Amanda from the hospital board. We need to speak with you about your application." The warmth of the room seemed to dim at the mention of her application. Her stomach tightened. Yes, of course. What about it? Is there a time we could meet soon? We have exciting news about the community health initiative you expressed interest in. Sarah's heart raced. The initiative was a commitment she had made several weeks ago, a passion project aimed at improving children's healthcare access in their neighborhood. She had almost forgotten about it in the whirl of daily life. Sure, I can make time. When were you thinking? She asked, her voice more confident now. Tomorrow at 11? We're eager to get you involved. Tomorrow sounds great, she replied, but doubts clouded her excitement. I'll be there. After hanging up, Sarah felt a rush of mixed emotions. In just a breath, her world had shifted again, another chance flashing before her eyes. Looking back at the enthusiastic chaos of kids and parents around her, she felt both exhilarated and terrified. What if this opportunity required more than she was ready to give? Mom, look! Emily's voice broke through her thoughts again, joy dripping from every syllable. The girl beside her waved excitedly at a gargantuan piece of cardboard they were attempting to lift together. The way the two girls worked in synchrony made Sarah beam with pride. Let us paint it. A voice piped up from the crowd. Yeah, rainbow colors. Rang out another chorus of agreement. Sarah laughed, drawing her gaze back toward the children as they began to discuss colors and patterns for their new project. What do you want to paint? She asked Emily, who was now leaning over the cardboard with serious concentration. Mom, we need a big sun. Emily exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with purpose. And a unicorn, piped in her new little friend. Both girls clapped their hands in excitement, and the simple joy of their suggestions brightened Sarah's heart. In that moment, she realized how much she longed to be a part of something meaningful, not just for herself but for Emily and the community around them. But as the world spun around her, a world where laughter rang out, new friendships sparked, and art was born, the weight of tomorrow hung heavy in her mind. Would she be ready for the challenge that awaited? As Emily and her friend began sketching out ideas for their son with a crayon, Sarah felt the familiar buzz of worry creeping back in. She would have to face whatever lay ahead, but she knew this wasn't just about her anymore. It was about Emily, their future, and the communities they lived in. Before Sarah could fully settle into a sense of courage, the CEO approached her, a warm smile on his face. How are you feeling about everything? It seems like we're all finding our place here. She opened her mouth to respond, but a deep nervousness settled in. Honestly, she said slowly, I'm scared. There's so much at stake for me and Emily. His smile softened. That's okay. Doing something worthwhile often comes with uncertainty. Just remember, he leaned closer, sometimes uncertainty leads us to our most meaningful moments. She absorbed his words, feeling the truth in them. Could she really step into the unknown, armed only with hope and determination? As the children shouted over new ideas, joy filled the air once again, but beneath that joy lingered her secrets, the uncertain future that awaited. Would she embrace this new chapter, or would she let the fear of the unknown pull her back? Before she could voice her thoughts, a helicopter roar flew over, startling everyone. Sarah shielded her eyes from the bright sun to find its source. What was happening now? Her heart raced again, not from anxiety this time, but from a stirring sense of hope mixed with apprehension. She didn't know what to expect, but one thing was clear, everything was about to change again. The helicopter's propeller blades whipped the air intensely, causing strands of Emily's hair to dance around her face. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity and excitement as she pointed up, captivated by the sudden disruption in their peaceful moment. But for Sarah, it felt like a sign, an omen of the unexpected changes lurking around the corner. She desperately needed to keep her guard up, yet somewhere deep inside, a flicker of hope ignited. Wow! Emily exclaimed, barely able to contain her excitement. What is going on up there, Mom? I'm not sure, honey, Sarah replied, squinting into the sunlight. The noise filled her ears, drowning out the chatter of the children. Just then, the helicopter began its slow descent towards the community center's yard. As it touched down softly, the crowd pulled together, curiosity peaked and excitement mounting. David looked at Sarah, his eyebrows raised. "Let us see what this is about," he suggested, gesturing toward the growing crowd. They moved closer, Sarah's heart racing. The last remnants of doubt began to shift inside her. Maybe this was a moment of change. They all needed something uplifting in their lives, something to rally around. A door opened in the helicopter's side, and a figure stepped out, helmet in hand, a wide grin stretching across his face. He sported a bright yellow jumpsuit that radiated positivity. "Hello everyone," he called out, spreading his arms wide, inviting the gathering around him. "I'm here from the local air rescue team, and today, we're here to launch an adventure program for kids. Who's ready to learn about life-saving skills?" Gasps of surprise echoed around the crowd. Emily's eyes widened in wonder, and Sarah felt a rush of enthusiasm ripple through her body. This was unexpected, but captivating. David stepped forward, his demeanor exuding confidence and warmth. "Fantastic. This is just what we need," he encouraged, turning to Sarah with a look of exhilaration. "Imagine all the children learning together while building friendships. It could be something wonderful for the community." "Could be?" she mused, glancing at Emily, who was bouncing on her toes, eyes alight with raw excitement. "It sounds amazing, but do you think we have the energy to keep this momentum going?" David nodded earnestly. "We could. We'd work together, find volunteers, create partnerships. It's about building something sustainable." As the instructor began describing the plans, Sarah glanced at Emily, who was utterly engrossed. "Mom, can I learn to fly in a helicopter?" she asked, her voice laced with sheer delight. Sarah's heart swelled with pride and apprehension at the same time. This opportunity, this very moment, could lead to something more significant for them. A community spark, ignited by the innocence and enthusiasm of children. "Maybe we'll have a chance to explore it together, she replied, her voice steady. "Just think about all the new friends you could make. New friends and adventures," Emily exclaimed, her cheeks flushing with excitement as she wrapped her arms around Sarah. It was a moment of connection, as mother and daughter momentarily shared an understanding they were on the brink of something profound. As the demonstration unfolded, children started gathering, captivated by the prospect of adventure. Laughter filled the air, and for the first time in what felt like ages, Sarah felt a true sense of belonging wash over her. The CEO spoke up, his voice ringing clear and full of purpose. "Since we're launching this program, it's going to need community support. Let us ensure it flourishes. Sarah, would you consider getting involved and leading the effort with me?" In that moment, Sarah realized the weight of the decision before her. Her heart flushed with emotions, a mixture of stirring courage and long-held fear. Could she actually step forward and embrace this opportunity? With a steady gaze, she responded, "Yes, I'd love to," her voice ringing with newfound strength. "If we're doing this, I want to be part of the adventure." Cheers erupted around them, the children clamoring for more information, and in the rush of the moment, Sarah felt something shift within her, a resolve kindled by the laughter of Emily and the promise of new connections. As the program began to take shape, Sarah's thoughts wandered to the challenges of finding her voice, stepping into leadership, and navigating the world around her. But while she still carried memories of struggle, the lightness that filled the air reminded her of the power of community and resilience. "Together, we can make this happen," David echoed, and Sarah realized he believed in her as much as she began to believe in herself. To her surprise, the shadows of doubt that had lingered for so long began to melt away, replaced by a rush of possibilities. She glanced at Emily once more, who had joined a group of kids, gleefully planning their next big adventure, her laughter music to Sarah's ears. In that instant, the uncertainties began to recede, leaving a clear path ahead, a trail marked by love, hope, and connection. They were ready to embrace the next chapter of their journey together, reaching for the sun. And with that thought echoing in her heart, Sarah took a deep breath, feeling freer than ever before. Their story was about to soar. Now that you've witnessed this heartwarming transformation, don't you think it's time for you to engage? Subscribe immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories that could inspire change in your life. Leave a like now and help feed the algorithm, making sure these stories reach those who need them. Comment below and share your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. You need to be a part of this community.